Hello and welcome to Champions of Care, a Champion Chair podcast. I'm James Kent, and joining me today are my two guests, Brant Satterwhite, Director of Operations at Chairmatics, and Michael Coombs Jr., Operations Manager at Chairmatics. And today we're going to learn more about Chairmatics and find out what they're all about and, more importantly, what they do for their customers. Brant and Michael, welcome to Champions of Care. How are you both doing today?
Good. How are you, James?
Pretty good.
Brant, I'm going to begin with an obvious starting point. Tell me a little bit about Chairmatics, who you are, and what you do in the medical furnishing space.
Well, Chairmatics actually began about 22 years ago, providing services primarily to dialysis centers on their medical recliners. We have since grown into other acute care environments, including infusion centers, hospitals, surgery centers, anywhere that has a medical recliner, with our base customers still being in the dialysis space. And now we've expanded beyond the Baltimore and DC area to include a footprint that stretches from Miami to Maine and into the Midwest and into Texas.
Fantastic. So if I have this correct, you are the nation's largest provider of dialysis chair maintenance and service, but your services aren't strictly focused on dialysis chairs. You do maintenance on other patient treatment recliners as well, correct?
That is correct. So as I said, we service several hospital centers. We service oncology centers, surgery centers, anyone that has a similar type of medical recliner. We can service those, and we service all of the major brands and models. So we can service anyone that has a medical recliner in their facility, and we are the largest provider of those services in the United States, servicing now over 1,700 customers nationwide.
Wow. Well, one of the most critical aspects of these types of chairs is patient comfort, and keeping these chairs well maintained and working well throughout their life cycle is so important. What types of plans do you offer to help healthcare facilities focus on what they do best, and that is the care and comfort of their patients?
We offer a preventative maintenance plan. We also offer customers can call and just get basic repairs, and they can also get parts installed.
Okay, well, let's get into some of the specifics of what types of services are provided in your maintenance plan, and then when might a facility need something, let's say, of an a la carte service or repair, and what specifically might those situations look like?
Well, our preventative maintenance plan, which we also call our ProServe maintenance, it entails a deep cleaning of the chairs, pressure washing. We check them for any infectious control issues and also for any mechanical repairs that are needed. It's a quarterly service that we offer to most customers. With some customers, we have actually doing it monthly as you move to some of the northern states. They have it monthly, but the PM plan is generally quarterly. Like I said, the cleaning comes along with it, that deep clean, and we also disinfect the chairs. Chairs that have any sort of electrical components as far as heat, massage, or power, those chairs we will manually clean, but a little more intense than is done at the facility. We'll go a little bit deeper than they will, and then we'll also still disinfect the chairs. Some a la carte services we offer, you can just call us up for repairs. If that chair goes down, we know it needs to get back in service quickly, so you can call us out. We'll come handle those repairs. From any previous visits where we found that you needed upholstery, if you have us get the upholstery for you, we'll come back out and install it. But you can also get parts on your own, and we'll come and put those on for you also.
Well, that's great. And here's another great thing on today's show. Because we have the benefit of video, we're going to do a demonstration of what a customer might experience when a Chairmatics service tech completes a pro service maintenance visit. And we have with us one of Chairmatics' actual technicians, Garrett Guest. He's going to help us out with this demonstration. So when you're ready, the stage is set and the floor is yours. I'm excited to watch this demonstration.
All right, so we've brought in with us Garrett Guest, one of our actual technicians based here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we want Garrett to walk you and us through his typical procedure for conducting a PM visit, how he evaluates a chair from head to toe, looking for any possible mechanical issues that he will need to fix on site. So Garrett, show us what you do when you go through a PM visit.
All right. So the first thing I do is I check to make sure that if the chair is sound mechanically. So I will check to make sure that the legs pop out with the lever on the right side. I'll then close the chair. And I'll check the lever on the left side to make sure that it works. I'll check to make sure that the back reclines easily and smoothly. And then I will place pressure onto the back and make sure that it does not extend further down into the Trendelenburg position on its own. I then check to make sure that the chair will go down to the Trendelenburg position. After I've done checked that, I start checking upholstery. One of the first places to start would be the place where the patients place their heads. This gets kind of greasy, and then over time, it will rip down the center. I will check the top and the back of the arm. The top mostly for punctures and just rips from wear and tear. The back of the armrest will get checked for if the chair gets pushed up against a wall or anything like that. The frame of the arm will actually puncture outside of the upholstery. I then move down to the seat. The seat just gets normal wear and tear from people sitting in it over time. You'll get it basically just in the dead center of the seat. Then I move down to the leg rest. The leg rest will find sometimes holes on the sides, and then some normal wear and tear on the front surface. Finally, down to the footrest. The footrest generally gets its issues on the edges, the corners. Sometimes nurses will push carts around, things of that nature, and it'll just scuff it up over time. That's generally what you find with upholstery issues. There's some caveats to that, but that's mostly it. Next, I move down to the tables, and I check the tables to make sure that they're firm, they're not loose. If I bump it, it doesn't fall, anything of that nature. And then I check the casters to make sure that the brakes work and lock effectively. And on other Champion chairs, these arms swing out. On this chair, it does not. But if the arms swing out, I make sure that they swing out with ease. And then when you close them, they close with ease as well. And if they don't, I will either lubricate or replace parts on it.
And typically your van has a pretty wide assortment of our most common parts that we see on most models and brands of chairs. So you're able to repair those on the spot in most cases.
Generally, every mechanical failure on this type of chair can be replaced on any sort of visit, on a PM or anything.
So we were talking yesterday about some common failure points and some things that you see. Maybe we could give some pointers to the staff to kind of prevent some of the common problems that we find with especially mechanisms and mech locks, which are pretty expensive pieces to have to repair. So talk about proper closing of the chair and how that affects the mechanism in some ways.
Okay. So generally to close a Champion chair, you're supposed to close it from behind by pulling up on the bar in the back. However, most chairs are up against walls, and so it can be hard to get behind the chair and do that. So generally what happens with nurses is the patient is leaning back. They have to push on the seat to get the back to come all the way up. Once the back is all the way up and the seat is all the way back, then you can push down on the foot and you try to push it down straight and evenly back and try to not wobble it to the side, because if you wobble it to the side where the back isn't up and the seat isn't back, then you'll slowly over time bend the foot of the mechanism. The other issue that we see with the mech locks is patients will sometimes ask to have the chair lowered further back than it's supposed to go. And they'll have it just a hair past where it's supposed to be, and when the nurses come by to try to close the chair does not want to close. However, it can be forced to close, and when forcing it to close, you end up breaking the mech locks on the chair, which is generally the biggest repair that we see.
So if we follow just a couple of smarter processes in terms of use of the chair, the staff can definitely prevent a lot of the fixes that we end up seeing and potentially save a lot of money on repairs.
Oh yes. As long as they make sure that the back is all the way up before they close it, then they'll avoid most of the repairs that they encounter.
Awesome. Thanks, Garrett.
No problem.
Thanks again, Garrett. That was great. Now, as we begin to wrap up today's conversation, what else should we cover about Chairmatics that we haven't reviewed yet? I'd like to grab some final thoughts from each of you, Brant and Michael.
Just final thoughts. I believe anytime you can save money and extend, the life of anything, I believe it's worth it. The dialysis industry is a very important industry. I didn't realize how much until I began working here. So we all here take a lot of pride in the fact that we can offer a service for someone else that we will never see or meet, that'll add on to their comfort and, just the quality of, the service they're getting in a trying time. So I do want to add that.
We're very proud, as Michael said, to be the nation's top provider of these types of services. They are critical services to our customers. They do enhance the lives of the patients, the experience that they have during a difficult period in their lives, and they hopefully take the burden of worrying about chair maintenance off of the clinic staff and allows them to focus on the patient's needs and care for the patient, which is really their specialty. So if we can do that for them and lighten the load by being experts in chair maintenance and taking that burden away from them, then we're happy to do that. And we're also extremely glad to be aligned with both Champion and Winco, the two major manufacturers and brands of dialysis chairs in the market. We are the official service provider for both of those brands, which represent probably 85% of particularly the dialysis market. So we're proud of where we are, and we are excited to continue growing and servicing new customers all over the country.
Oh, that's tremendous. Well, this has been a great conversation I've had today with Brant Satterwhite, Director of Operation for Chairmatics, and Michael Coombs Jr., Operations Manager for Chairmatics. Brant and Michael, if folks watching us today want to learn more about the services you offer and want to get in touch, what's the best way for them to do so?
We would invite them to go to chairmatics.com, all one word, and visit us there and find out more about us. There are links to us and ways to email us there easily, or you can feel free to call us anytime at 919-228-4478, and a live voice will pick up, and we'll be glad to share any details you'd like, and we can set up a work order in minutes and hopefully send a technician very quickly to address any emergency needs that a customer might have.
Again, my thanks to Brant and Michael, and of course, our special demonstration guest, Garrett Guest, for coming on the show today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, James.
And thank you for watching this episode of Champions of Care. We have lots of great past episodes for you to check out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So make sure to subscribe and you'll get access to all the thought leadership discussions we'll be bringing you in the future. My name is James Kent, and I look forward to chatting again real soon.